A YouTuber named Daz Games takes a Ouija board to a 300-year-old mansion to record whatever paranormal activity he can find. His girlfriend is on the lower floor when Daz Games feels watched and this happens.
Is there anybody in here? That.
This sounds like a creepy noise that any old house would make, but the perfect timing means it almost has to be completely paranormal or completely made up. Then, while explaining what he heard, Daz Games records this.
That was a definite.
This sound is much louder, more deliberate, and even harder to shrug off. It's as if the house is letting him know that yes, his suspicions are in fact correct, and something is in here with him. And immediately after this noise, you can see a ripple trace along his cheek, like someone is affectionately brushing a finger across his face. As a final test, they put chapstick on the Ouija board and challenge the ghost to make it move. I think I see Daz's girlfriend move the board though. Watch your fingers twitch at 15 minutes and 19 seconds.
Can you move it for us?
Ooh.
Oh.
No.
You're not even lifting it?
No.
Whether she did that on purpose or because of nerves is up to you to decide, but I don't think the ghost moved the chapstick. The other scenes, however, especially the finger across Daz's face, look real to me. The demon that possessed this girl may have been exorcised, but it never left this place. YouTube channel Chamos investigates this abandoned house in which a girl underwent her exorcism. This is what happened. First, the presentation.
barulho? Tem alguma coisa aí, velho?
Cara, tem alguém aí.
Opa! Isso, se afasta.
Que isso?
Ai, meu Deus! Olha isso, cara!
Why is the demon presenting this terrifying toy doll? It also moves a chair.
Meu Deus, cara! Deixa eu ali, velho.
A moment later, the baby crib is gone.
Cara do céu!
Things keep moving.
Cara, e essa menina de novo? Cara.
Olha isso.
Meu Deus.
Notice the sound, you'll soon see what it is.
Olha só, cara. Olha só o poder desse demônio, velho. Oh, meu Deus do céu, velho.
Tá maluco, velho? Sai daí, cara. Olha aí, velho.
Tá maluco, cara?
Later, as they're getting a reading on their K2, something even creepier unfolds.
Que é aquilo lá?
Cara, que isso? Olha isso, cara. Meu Deus do céu, velho.
Olha isso.
Que isso, velho?
Vocês estão vendo isso? Vocês estão vendo isso, cara?
Meu Deus do céu, velho.
Meu Deus, cara. Cara do céu, velho.
Was that doll floating, descending, or is it ascending to new heights? No matter what the answer is, I'd be getting the heck out of this place ASAP. When Gulf of Mexico explorers venture deep below the sea, they may not have been expecting to get creeped out from what they found down there. The EV Nautilus was able to capture footage of a ghost shark, also called a chimera, near Grenada in the Caribbean. Ghost sharks are rarely seen, as they're usually too deep, anywhere from 8,500 feet to around 650 feet. For marine communities to capture on film, and this particular ghost shark was even rarer, as it had an eerie smile and was riddled with parasites. To capture this amount of creepiness on video, underwater is quite a feat. A team member said, "He looks like he's smiling. It's like a Joker smile. Don't know about you, but I'd cringe to be on the receiving end of this smile." Hardly anyone wants to see a clown at the best of times. Guaranteed, no one wants to see an uninvited clown on their doorstep. Published to YouTube in August of 2019, this creepy clown is everyone's unwelcome guest. Residents of San Antonio, Texas likely double-check their locks after video of this creepy visitor was captured on Ring surveillance footage. The clown was said to be loitering outside people's homes in the middle of the day saying trick or treat. Again, it was August at the time. The ring footage captures the man wearing a clown mask approaching a home around 1 p.m. The anonymous homeowner wasn't present at the time of the clown's visit. The security video was shared to neighborhood groups, sending a collective chill down everyone's spine. Resident Ernest Marquez sums up the fear saying, "What his intentions were, I don't know. The uncertainty, the unknown is everyone's greatest fear." Hopefully this case was broken before it was too late. Rob of HRJ Paranormal Adventures slaps on his finest pair of overalls and reluctantly goes exploring at, in his words, an
old abandoned house in the middle of the woods. It's already kind of creepy.
Creeped out or not, Rob is determined to stay until he's caught a ghost on camera, and he almost gets his wish as soon as he enters the abandoned place.
Just a little. What was that?
But he didn't come all the way out to the woods to let a scary noise keep him from exploring this creepy location, so he pushes deeper inside. A buzzard charges straight at him, which I don't think is normal behavior for this type of bird at all, and could be taken by some signs as a sign of evil spirits.
Come back. Go away, buzzard.
The carry-on bird seems to be guarding a mattress that immediately sets off their paranormal equipment. Perhaps someone was slain here while they slept. He feels watched, like a ghost is near, and when Rob talks about setting up a spirit box, his K2 meter gets the highest readout yet.
I reckon I'll start up my mask box. Get it going. Make it a little easier for you to talk to us. Oh look, going all the way to red. Now, I reckon you like that idea, huh?
With the spirit box up and running, he gets a name with ease.
Alright. Can I get a name?
And at 9 minutes and 24 seconds, I think I hear a special request that does not sound good at all. Rob counters with a request of his own for Eric, the ghost, to make an object move, and that's when a woman's voice comes through with a warning I would take seriously if I were him.
Can you make something in this ring move?
Jim still isn't completely convinced, so he tells the spirit to do whatever it takes to prove to him it's real. What I find interesting is how his K2 meter goes off for a long time and stops the second he puts it down, almost like there was a ghost in front of him the whole time he was asking for proof. And as they continue to wait, the camera goes in and out of focus numerous times for no reason at all. They look to be very close to having a real ghost sighting in this abandoned house, but aside from manipulating their equipment, the apparition apparently does not know any other ways to show itself. Watch this part and tell me if their creepy suspicions are right.
There's something walking around the house.
Based on the way the camera blurs in the same location that he feels watched from, I'd say so. Letchworth Village used to be a collection of 130 mental asylums, built 2 hours from Brooklyn, a place where unwanted people in the early 1900s New York were taken to be forgotten, never to be visited, never to be removed. Atrocities were inflicted daily upon patients unable to make sense of what was happening to them, or to defend against it. With a ratio of 3 nurses to every 80 patients, there simply wasn't enough staff to keep everyone well fed or even alive. Mealtimes were a mad scramble in which a handful of nurses had to shovel food down patients' throats, often against their will. Some didn't survive. Their bodies were branded with a number and taken to a cemetery in a nearby forest. Letchworth Village did not shut down until 1996, 85 years of suffering total. Now, after 100 years after its creation, the 130-building mega asylum has rotted down to only a few of the most haunted sites left standing. Areas full of activity that a paranormal explorer named Angelo wants to document. On March 2nd of 2020, Exploring with Angelo enters one of the only buildings left standing. Shadow figures watch from a distance as they cautiously make their way through. Apparitions who are there one moment and gone the next. And it isn't until they begin walking up the stairs that the creepy noises begin. Sounds like doors opening while both of them are standing in place.
That basically might have been housed in the morning. That basically might have been housed in the morning.
Or this low croak right behind them at 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
That's weird. That's weird.
Or when they get to the top and find the doors wide open leading into the dark forest. So if this door is already open, then explain this.
Glad these things are all made of metal. This goes to a road.
The door somehow creaks open without moving. It sounds like it's being pulled open from straight ahead and yet nothing is there. Here's the door at 5 minutes and 6 seconds when the sound happens, and here it is again at 5 minutes and 50 seconds after the sound. It's open at the exact same angle down to the degree. They didn't touch it. They step through and turn around to look at the door from outside. They turn out their light to see if they pick up anything. Sure enough, these two beady eyes reflect on the wall despite there being no lights of theirs turned on. At 6 minutes and 25 seconds, they hear and see something jump across the camera. When they turn their lights back on, it's gone. They explore a few other rooms, and when they retrace their steps, the phantom doorway opens once more.
I just heard it again. Yeah, I heard it too. Whatever, just keep going.
The top floor is filled with hospital beds. Look what appears right as they ask a simple question out loud.
People claim they see in this place.
Shadows.
A glowing circle floats by in response, and soon a bad feeling rushes them off of this floor. But as they are leaving, they hear this noise coming from a different building, one deeper in the forest.
That's what we've been hearing.
That's what we've been hearing, but that's coming from the forest.
Angelo is walking towards the noise when it becomes evident that they are surrounded.
What?
They are looking one way when a hiss comes from the opposite direction.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh, what the f*** was that?
Up ahead is another asylum building and more voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
That's where the noise is coming from.
And this large white sideways face peering at them from inside. As they walk around the perimeter, all of the commotion strangely stops. The forest is as silent as can be, but as soon as they enter the building, they hear the noise again. Something is playing with their mind. Inside is little more than room after room of decaying white wallpaper. When they reach the end of the hall, they hear heavy footsteps from where they just were. This sounds like real fear to me. At first they try to determine where the footsteps are coming from, but this is the moment they need to get out of there fast.
Ever since we got here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
They face their fears long enough to stop and turn around one last time to confirm they were really being followed.
Anything there?
I'd say it's pretty clear that they were. Are there paranormal happenings recurring in your home? This YouTuber can relate. Published to YouTube by Youngboy Lloyd in March of 2020, Lloyd asks viewers for help as he believes there's a ghost in his home. He shows video proof across a series of 3 clips. The first part shows him watching something on TV when a plant falls over on its own accord and rolls off the entertainment center. When Lloyd moves to pick it up, it falls over again and he gets scared off by something unseen. In the next clip, he takes action, burning sage to get rid of the ghostly presence, and as he does so, the chair at the end of the table starts moving. Lloyd doesn't notice at first, so the ghost forces him to, aggressively flinging the chair onto its side. In the last video, Lloyd says he's not going to allow a ghost to take over his house. As he's talking, a cabinet door opens behind him in the next room. A pot on the counter can be seen falling to the floor. Lloyd jumps up from his seat and tells the ghost to leave.
That thing I'm going with you.
Did the ghost listen? I don't think so. YouTuber Hey Charmaine began posting about her experiences in her home. As her story unfolds, so does a terrifying truth shared by YouTube channel The Gravedigger. The scary video shows how Charmaine's horror story escalated. It all started with this strange object she found.
I got a pack of Pepperdine like 10 years ago, but it's modeled after the Bodhidharma, and I don't usually take it out.
After setting up security cameras in her room, she captured things moving unexpectedly. A few days later, while the dog was sitting for her friend, this happened.
Why are you whining, baby? Cooper, what are you staring at? Dude, there's nothing in the hallway.
Later, she captured a figure watching her home in the darkness of night and then heard something inside. After deciding to go stay at her parents' house for a while, things escalated. Watch the doorway behind Charmaine.
They've been really nice enough to let me stay there, and
What was that thing? I'm not sure what this figure is, but it seems to be related to the mysterious object that Charmaine found. With all these strange events unfolding, Charmaine has lasted a lot longer here than I would have. Andy Carul Reisel is a normal person who has been experiencing some not so normal things caught on camera. Weird and creepy stuff that soon leaves him wondering if his house could be haunted.
Boom, boom. Okay, anyway.
Everyone is in good spirits, except for the literal spirit itself, who apparently feels left out and compelled to check in. They rush upstairs and the bizarre sighting is nowhere to be found, but that isn't to say it's nowhere to be heard. Listen.
Istri abang apa?
It sounds like it's right in his ear. He turns the light on and the scary ghost voice seems to disappear with the darkness. So what was this strange incident in Indonesia? Paranormal, I think. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board. but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. A man claims that he keeps experiencing paranormal activity in his dining room and nowhere else. He feels unsafe and decides to leave a camera running in the dining room to see what goes on when he's not around. Nothing happens for a while, but then something comes along in the window that looks questionable. This is the zoomed in version. A tiny face appears to peek out at them from the glass panel on the bottom right before darting out of sight. You can't really make out any of its features, but notice how some orbs float by shortly before this happens. It's hard to tell if it's a paranormal creature or just a small animal, but I wouldn't want to be left alone in the house to find out. This 2009 video is some of the earliest and most bizarre evidence of the weird and mysterious lights at the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, which is considered a hotbed of paranormal activity all around. Perfect spheres of lights like this one often are sighted in the sky, or sometimes on the ground. Strange lights that have never been explained. The mysterious lights don't look like anything made by a person because they are almost as tall as a tree and extremely wide, much bigger than even the largest of spotlights. This next video, taken by the uploader's brother shortly after spending a day at the Skinwalker Ranch, shows an object moving on its own in their basement.
Swinging for 15 minutes now.
More unexplained lights have been haunting his basement. Did something paranormal follow them home? A Pakistani health and beauty channel called Beautify With Me recently caught a creepy sighting on video that has left them horrified. A hooded figure in black robes is caught on multiple CCTV cameras, haunting the outside of their house. It looks pretty scary until the figure walks by the first camera, at which point you can see they are wearing sneakers or some kind of modern looking footwear that doesn't exactly match the rest of their spooky outfit. Still, this video is a major departure from the rest of their channel, and this is a really weird video to fake a day before Christmas, so maybe it's real. Not necessarily a real ghost video, but maybe a creepy stranger encounter caught on CCTV. Whatever it is, the mysterious figure hasn't shown up on her security cameras since, and hopefully never will. Who would win in a swamp fight? A deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at those. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
Looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy shit.
By something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. Danny keeps noticing footprints in the snow leading up to his house, wide and spaced far apart. He checks his CCTV system only to discover whatever is making the tracks is apparently invisible. 7 seconds into the video, snow patches fly up for no reason at all. Danny suspects that this is a ghost because absolutely nothing was nearby. The long tracks do kind of look like someone kicking their feet as they are being dragged, but I'm not sure what to think, so maybe you can help me decide. This Redditor was a skeptic at first, but when he captured this video, he was transformed. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Notorious Meseros writes, I heard noises in the garage. I was Snapchatting my fiance who was at work about it. My fiance said it's a ghost. and I was an on-the-fence believer until this. The footage shows a garage full of stuff, just as the Redditor is saying he's not sure if he believes in ghosts. Something large and heavy falls from a shelf. Some in the comments point out that the object rotates curiously first.
Ghosts. I'm not sure if I even believe anymore, but... Yo, okay.
Before falling, others think a rodent could have knocked it over, or some other critter, and still others think that this dude needs to clean his garage. Is that what the ghost is rudely suggesting here? I guess that's still better than dealing with a poltergeist. We've all seen reflections in the window at night, but maybe none as creepy as what YouTuber Mystic Paranormal found in his car window. Mystic published this video in August 2017, writing that it was the scariest thing he ever captured on video. Let's be the judge of that. In the video, the YouTuber says he captured a hag on his phone's camera. He seems to want to capture some more footage, but cars keep driving by, which interrupts a proper view of the hag-like face. The woman in the video says she's scared to turn because the face has been appearing on her side of the vehicle. For a while, they're sitting in the darkness, hoping to capture the image on camera. While they wait, their camera runs out of battery, but the image they've already captured does appear like a masked hag reflected in the window. What is this, an apparition? Does this woman even exist? Whatever the reality of this is, a strange reflective phenomenon caught on camera, or an old lady's spirit, the result is chilling. Basements are inherently creepy, but this basement's resident shadow person will make your skin crawl. A shadow person was caught on camera in a Pennsylvania basement on December 15th, 2016. The YouTuber writes, "For the last few months there have been weird bangs and noises in our basement. Sounds like someone is walking up and down our steps." He goes on to say that his wife thought it was their cats at first, since their litter box is in the basement, but on the night in question, their cats were upstairs in their daughter's room, and their dog was in his cage in the kitchen, whining about the basement noise. He brought a camera to prove to his wife that the cats weren't making this noise, which had started out of nowhere a few months prior. "This thing I caught on camera, I am at a loss over," he writes. "Now I am terrified in this house." As he heads down the stairs to the basement, a shadow person peers around the corner, frightening the man.
I know I heard you. Holy, oh my goodness.
He runs down the stairs at it, trying to catch it on camera up close, but it disappears around the corner and isn't caught again. YouTuber Wyoming Oregon points out, if you pay attention to when he first turns the cam, around right before he cuts on the lights, it was standing there on the stairwell and ran down the stairs. Most confirm Wyoming's take, with many agreeing it was extremely creepy. Others say they've seen these shadow people in real life before. The uploader notes that they've decided to move after watching this video, as they don't want to raise their daughter in a haunted house. After seeing this, can you blame them? When you enter a graveyard, you may not leave alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Scream Gaming writes, "This was caught in a cemetery when we were leaving. All four of us got chills at the time, and it felt like something left with us. In the short clip, the group is heading out of the driveway of the cemetery when you see a figure on the side of the road. According to the Redditor, they caught this creepy thing on video where in reality there was nothing, just grass and a telephone pole. Do you see it?" Redditor Treadway0311 does, writing, "There definitely was something there and then gone. But what was it, and where did it go?" Okay, so this is the size of an ordinary garfish, and this is the size of one when you live in Texas.
Was that huge? Look at its head. Okay. Nope, you're good.
This gigantic specimen is estimated to be about 60 years old and weighs about 200 pounds. They eat just about everything in sight, and their only predator besides humans are alligators. Nothing else is big enough to stand against them. They are basically living dinosaurs, and definitely one of the most mysterious species to be found lurking in Texan waters, so tread carefully. This team of paranormal explorers sees a stalker in the darkness. YouTuber Rodolfo Augusto and his team are searching a bathroom and are quickly met with fear.
Ei! Ei! Eu escutei barulho lá atrás, ó. Aqui.
Essa aqui é onde eu tava lá?
Deve ser. Onde que tem lá? Vamos ali, só olhar ali e vamos lá pra casa.
Is someone stalking them?
Essa devastação toda. E no sítio da minha tia...
Ó. Tudo caído, ó, pra dentro.
Olha aqui, mano, parece túmulo. Olha que túmulo ali, velho.
Parece que foi enterrado pessoa aí, né?
They find some strange prints in the sand.
O quê? Oi, tem alguma coisa aqui que passou em cima aí, ó. Sai daí, pinguim, vai que tem gente morta aí.
But they don't yet see it. I think someone must be hot on their heels, but what exactly that is, only time will tell. Who is standing at the end of the hallway? Published by Find Ghost in December of 2021, this short clip captures a ghost girl on camera in a haunted home. As ghost hunters are searching around this room, the camera pans around. Look closely at the end of the hallway. A creepy figure can be seen standing there with long white hair and a darkened face. When the cameraman pans back a moment later, the figure is gone. Would you leave? The caption says. I'm already gone.
Ken 1082 catches what he claims is a mysterious light that's not part of a storm. It almost has to be a storm, but a user named Combat points out a strange and creepy figure standing in the doorway when the lightning flashes. The lights flicker on and off in the room to reveal a person who was apparently standing there the whole time. Let me know if you see them and what you think it was. This video was posted on the Chills Narrators subreddit, so I wanted to know what you make of it.
Yes, poltergeists can be powerful, but this one is like its own microburst. Published by Find Ghost in August of 2021, this haunting footage was originally captured on a security camera in April of 2009, just after midnight. The footage shows an empty room with chairs stacked along one side. One chair is overturned in the middle of the room like it was flung there, and after seeing what happens next, perhaps it was, an object falls off a table, one of the stacked chairs wobbles back and forth, then all of a sudden all the chairs burst, as if flung forward simultaneously. A moment later, another invisible burst in the room sends all the objects flying momentarily into the air. In the last split second, everything flies sky high again. What is happening in this haunted room, and what will happen next? Seeing an object move in an abandoned haunted house may be a sign that you're not alone. Published to YouTube by Mo Sargi in April of 2020, the channel captured paranormal activity in a haunted house at 3 a.m. The haunted house in question is unsettling. Sitting deep in the forest, the wallpaper is peeling from the walls, and the state of things is decrepit. While taking all this in, Mo explains that this isn't their first visit here. He explains all they've already experienced in this haunted place, and they're about to be faced with even more. At around 4 minutes 40 seconds, some in the comments point out a figure moving in the far doorway. Later, at around 7 minutes 57 seconds, Mo and his partner hear a strange humming in the house.
I don't know. Sounds like humming.
If that wasn't enough, as Mo speaks to the spirits around 16 minutes 40 seconds, the fan starts to move.
Is there anything here with us right now? Well, we do know you're here.
First clockwise, then counterclockwise. This is something that apparently occurred before. Mo explains that he has a sudden headache, which he's experienced previously at other extreme hotbeds of paranormal activity. Don't know about you, but I think it's time to close the case file on this haunted house. That is, if you want to play it safe. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W
T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want us to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright, let's go.
John of a paranormal channel called Exploration Unknown investigates an abandoned farmhouse late at night. He and two other ghost hunters split up and then reconvene downstairs to discuss what they found, which was little more than some empty rooms and loose steps.
The floors upstairs are pretty spongy. I did it, but I doubt it.
After talking with Tim, John walks through the first floor, and at 11 minutes a shadow figure is caught on tape moving above him.
We've got the K2 meter over here in this window. We're getting things set up. Alright. And then in here, we got Josh on the porch.
It's not Josh because Josh is on the porch outside, and it's not Tim because they just had a conversation about how dangerous the floor was up there. And for some reason the legs remain covered in darkness, even though enough light hits the area to show the banister is brown, so there's a strong chance that this ghost video is real. A YouTuber named Dylan HD decides to explore an abandoned house with some friends. The home still has some furnishings, including a wall full of creepy paintings of children. The far end of the house is completely dark, and they are hesitant to explore this section. Finally, one of them bravely goes into the darkened corner and comes back shaken. He announces someone is looking at them through the window. Pay attention to the thin beam of light behind him during this clip, because that's the window he's referring to.
There's someone who's at the window.
Act.
Someone was at the window.
Was?
It's gone really bright now. Is the window after open?
No, it's the same.
Oh!
The thin beam of light silently extinguishes as the window is closed by whoever was on the other side. It's important to note that all three friends were close together when this happened. One could be seen on tape, the second was holding the camera, and the third could be heard directly to their right. The trio runs screaming out of the house and never looks back. A girl is coloring in the living room when her papers blow away despite there being no breeze. Even if the windows are open, the curtains behind her do not move, so this simply shouldn't happen indoors. When the little girl comes back to stare in utter confusion, it just gets worse. The room is silent, no fans are on, so how does this happen? If this is real, then it definitely has to be the work of a poltergeist. Maybe it's already even attached to her. In 2009, a YouTuber named TC Ballinger uploaded 2 ghost videos from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania that are widely regarded by most as being authentic. The first one was taken near Wheatfield Road, about a mile from a major site known only as the Triangular Field, rumored to be quite cursed by the final moments of many. A figure crosses the road accompanied by an echoing moan. Real or fake is my question. TC Ballinger zooms in and picks up another figure, this time in more detail, followed by a third. What is your take on this? Do they look like distinct individuals, or is this the same CGI model being recycled? He then goes on to a different location that is only a half mile from the triangular field. More spirits appear before him in the same fashion as before. Is this video editing, or did he just capture the real reason why this area as a whole is designated as a no trespassing zone? The Franklin County Old Jail, which was established in 1818, is widely known for being extremely haunted, and usually it seems that whoever dares to enter finds themselves getting more than they bargained for. A YouTube channel named Paranormal Purgatory decided to venture down into the jail themselves to have a look around the place. The jail is eerily decrepit and worn down, something you'd expect from a 200-year-old building, but just because it's worn down doesn't mean that the place remains uninhabited.
Look at that. That's gonna be.
Do you see the old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
I heard that too.
There was a whistle.
So next to the bed here, I do kind of see what they're talking about here. If you just focus on the bed, there appears to be just kind of this shadow, and then it almost seems to take off to the right here.
Old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
Oh, right there. Okay, I now see exactly what they're talking about. So there's going to be a flash of light. So it looks like it's like a head and kind of a torso, and there's that flash of light, and then it looks like it just sort of pops right up. It happens so quickly. I should play this in slow motion. Right here, don't you see that? And then it just pops right up just in the split second that it's shown in the light. Even though the crew behind the channel had only just started to look around the jail, little did they know that they didn't need to look any further for signs of paranormal life, as you can make out what appears to be some sort of shadow figure right next to the bed, which vanishes just as quick as it appears. During the rest of the video, the crew explores the remaining areas of the jail, but are ultimately unable to find any other signs of paranormal activity. Even still though, seeing this shadow figure in person during an investigation would be enough to terrify anybody. On May 11th, 2020, this boy in Texas walked up to his parents after collecting a bucket full of these strange creatures. He was using a small plastic toy shovel. Had he used his hands, he might not have survived. If you ever see one of these strange sea creatures washed up on the beach, don't ever try to pick it up. They're called blue dragons, and as the name in bright blue colors should warn you, their toxic wrath will mess you up quick. Sometimes. I say sometimes because grabbing one leaves a 50-50 chance of you writhing in the worst pain of your life, worse than a giant jellyfish or even a stingray, or you won't feel anything at all. That's because these sea slugs feed on much larger venomous prey like jellyfish. They take the venom of their prey and store it to be used against larger threats like us, for example. Their supercharged sting feels like the wrath of a dragon as a result, and how much damage it does to humans depends on how recently they've feasted. Blue dragons have been known to wash ashore and cause major problems for anyone unfortunate enough to walk through a patch of them like this one. They also float upside down and can be easy for swimmers to miss in the shimmering sea until it's too late and they are burning all over. A group of them are called a blue fleet. If accidentally brushing up against a single one is worse than a school of jellyfish, imagine how a whole fleet would feel. The science world acknowledges this creature has enough venom to potentially end your life, and if that possibility doesn't make them one of the scariest things you can find at the beach, I don't know what does. No actual cases like that have been documented yet, so stay far away from them and you won't be the first. The aggression with which some ghosts make their presence known can frighten even the bravest among us. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Mr. Miracle BR. The Redditor says this clip was tweeted by a police officer and reveals a strange, seemingly paranormal encounter during a police raid in Brazil. The footage shows what appears to be an abandoned building. The police approach to find a door banging repeatedly on its hinge. As they get closer, they see that it's doing so on its own. No trespassers are around. Nothing behind the door but an apparently angry plant. The man filming scans the door up and down, but nothing seems to explain the banging. The police hear something clatter to the ground somewhere far off and start running down the alley. Redditor Iselin draws attention to something else creepy in the clip, writing, "How come no one is pointing out the girl in the doorway at 38 seconds? Not sure if that's a girl. In fact, it's unclear what it is, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's very unnerving." Those who don't see it remain skeptical about the seeming paranormal activity. Redditor Bin Medi writes, "Ghosts do this, but they don't do it constantly." Well, there you have it. A ghost hunter in India named Grey Wolf describes exploring this haunted school as unexplainable, a terrifying event that has left him never the same. They set up a summoning circle in one of the most haunted places in the whole school. Tell me what they are saying, because it sounds like a kind of ritual spell, one that seems to work all too well. They need to go back and end the ceremony or be haunted forever, so they regather themselves and march back to the room as one. Tell me what he says to the spirit to make this happen. Apparently the spirit never wants to be unsummoned, and so it's taken the candles away, or maybe Grey Wolf simply covered the camera with his hand to make it look like the candles went out, at which point he stopped recording, removed the candles from the circle, and began recording again. If there's no editing though, then you have to agree this is beyond scary. This unbelievable capture occurred on a rural road in the middle of the night. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021, a crew was driving to an unknown location when this happened. The semi-transparent figure appears to fall directly from the sky. It stays in place for a moment before shortly vanishing. Is this a phantom, CGI, or do you have another theory? I guess this just goes to show you never know what you're gonna see when you look up at the sky. This haunted home has visible spirits stalking about. Published by A Sip of Fear in January of 2022, an unsettling figure was captured in the glass during this paranormal investigation. After setting up some cameras in this haunted home, activity begins pretty quickly. A wardrobe door is captured opening and closing, and later a bang causes the paranormal investigator to jump out of his skin. In another room, a stationary camera captures a figure's reflection in the glass door of a shelf. And again, the wardrobe door opens and closes repeatedly. Is this spirit trying to tell us something? Or does she just want to be left alone? Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHatteras_NPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthay, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. Maxim enters another terrifying witch's house in this paranormal investigation. As soon as he walks in, the demon lets him know he is there. But it's when he lights up these demon dolls with ritualistic symbols drawn on them that he faces the real terror. While these may not be voodoo dolls, it certainly seems that Maxim just lit up the devil. The awful sounds coming from the spirit box seems to be coming straight from the fiery depths below. You'd think Satan would be used to a bit of fire. In this creepy video, ghost hunter Luan Mendez and his team are investigating this spooky abandoned building. As they approach, one of the crew sees something, but what they find is not meant to be found.
Opa! Tem alguém aí? Ó, tem gente aqui, irmão. Calma, calma, calma.
Despite the freaky scene, they enter, and they soon regret it.
Morcego, morcego. Oh, olha!
Ele tá mostrando o dedo.
Tá mostrando o dedo, Júlio.
Tem sangue na boca dele. Nossa! Vai, puta, tá cheio de morcego atacando, Júlio, cuidado!
After being bombarded by the bat, the team later hears a noise in the abandoned home. They look around to find its source.
Opa! Hã? Ai! Nossa! Sai daí! Meu Deus do céu! Sai daí! Você tá louco?
Of course, they flee, but the mystery of the figure draws them back in.
Oh!
Esse cara deve estar com mal intenção com a coisa, Ilô.
Olha o prego, ó! Eu falei, que eu me rasguei, irmão? Aqui o prego, aqui, ó. Tá doendo meu braço, velho.
But the hooded figure has now disappeared. It appears to me as though the crew walked straight into a ritual of some kind. But what type of ritual is the million-dollar question? A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands. Shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself, judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. This deer looks like it could be fine, except it's walking in circles with its tongue hanging out without a clue of its surroundings. A telltale sign of CWD. The person recording thinks this could be the work of hunters, but I disagree. Watch this part and tell me what you really think happened.
Oh yeah, I got shot.
The deer circles in place for well over a minute and then silently walks out to a nearby field. The way it is walking here makes me think that this is the result of something to do with the brain. The animal is so out of it that it looks ready to walk through the front door of a nearby home. Perhaps this exact scenario is precisely how it will one day spread to humans. I really hope this incident was reported to the proper wildlife agency for further investigation. Junior Tour 1 helps his father move a table, and only when they put it down does he notice something he wishes he never caught on camera.
And we picked it up under here, and we carried it out, and when I flipped it over, guess what I discovered? And I stuck my hands under there.
From the view at 36 seconds, it's easy to see how the spider stayed hidden from view. The circled area is where the spider is, and also exactly where he grabbed the table to lift it. For better context, this is where his fingers were, and of course you already know where the spider is. He thinks this is a wolf spider, but someone else claims this to be a dark fishing spider. This is a fierce debate in the comments section of the video, so let's see if we can settle the issue here. Here's a freaky sighting. Imagine you're playing guitar with your friends when something decides to pay a visit. Published by Navigon in November of 2007, this creepy video shows some dudes practicing in a bedroom. One is playing the guitar, the other is singing, and the third is recording the session. But as it turns out, there's a fourth uninvited guest nearby. As they continue to play, the friend filming the session takes a broader shot of the singer, and towering in the doorway behind him is a seemingly tall man, standing sentry and staring into the room. In the comments of this video, David F.E. writes, "It's a humanoid being about 7 feet tall, not a ghost. Many people have reported them before." Whatever the case, in the moment, the friend filming doesn't spot the humanoid. The three continue their session without any reaction, and the next time the cameraman pans over, the figure is gone. They must have spotted the humanoid later in the playback, a humanoid that was so close he could have touched them. What would you do if you saw this over your friend's shoulder? When demons speak, you listen. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Regal. The Redditor explains that he and some friends listened back to the voice recording of an EVP when they heard this demon or spirit, which sounds like it's speaking directly into the recorder. In the recording, you can hear the group asking the spirit if he can let them know he is present.
Just let me know you are here. See, it's a roach party over here.
After asking this question a couple times, a clear voice is heard, and he wants one thing from the living. He wants them to get out. In the Reddit thread, Regal explains that a neighbor from his apartment complex in Reno, Nevada, told him that he'd seen a tall shadow man in the mirror, leering behind him. Then they experienced some poltergeist activity as a protein container threw itself across the room at them when they entered the neighbor's house. He suspected the demon also possessed his neighbor, as the man kept blacking out, only to awake standing in the corner of the room. The neighbor also suffered from unexplained scratches on occasion. Redditor Jazzed Out writes, "That sounds like a malevolent spirit to me, and not a demon. And to add to this, demons are easier to identify when and if they speak, because they will be speaking in a language called Aramaic, which is more difficult to understand. Demon or malevolent spirit, to be honest, don't know which is worse." This video was published to YouTube in July of 2007 with the title, "Dragon was caught sight of by infrared rays." This video appears to show the ghostly smoky figure of a long creature fly through the air, from the top to the bottom of the frame. Modern scholars suggest that crocodiles might be the closest to resemble a dragon, and maybe what informed its imagery. Or maybe this creature is something else completely, and just somewhat resembles a dragon. Nothing else like this has been caught on the security camera since. While exploring this haunted place, YouTuber Rodolfo Augusto and his crew are trying to escape the creature. Let's see if they do. They find a mysterious jar inside the home, but as they're examining it, a bang is heard.
Alguém abre?
Não sei. Opa, cacete.
Quem tá aí?
Eu acho que é o vento, mano. Tá vendo? Ó, ó, olha ali, ó. Ó.
They try to open the jar, but again hear a noise.
Não é vento, não.
Você vai tacar um negócio?
Foi reação.
They push this door open but are too scared to enter.
Será que tem alguém aqui? Isso aí não é vento, não.
And yet it won't stop.
É vento.
Que é aquilo, velho?
Que é aquilo ali na porta?
That's when they finally see it.
Eu vi.
That's all I need for my dreams to forever be nightmares. Have you ever come across a haunted playground at night? This YouTuber has. He describes this perfectly chilling nightmare feel with even more chilling imagery writing. While driving around in some unknown forest, I found this person rocking on some kind of swing. That description alone is enough to send chills down your spine, but watch the video and you won't be able to get this nightmare out of your head as the person filming sits inside his vehicle, shutting the headlights off and on again at random. The person rocking on some kind of swing is caught in the headlights. When the lights shut off, the next time they shine, the figure is in a different area of the forest. Its disappearance and reappearance are completely unsettling, especially when the figure comes closer and closer and closer until he disappears. Somehow his absence is the most upsetting part of the entire clip. That is, until... And that's where this video ends, leaving us wondering what happened to this unfortunate cameraman. On occasion, don't believe what you see. Sometimes your eyes really can deceive you. TikToker Rebecca explains that a previous video that appeared to show a child at the window in this haunted mansion was actually just a prop. TikTokers urged Rebecca to call the authorities, saying it looked like this individual was being held captive, but when Rebecca zooms in on the window in question, the head is clearly that of a mannequin. Some still find the catch extremely jarring. Kat writes, "You zoomed in and my heart just stopped." Some thank Rebecca for giving viewers closure, while others say it's even scarier knowing it's a mannequin. Real or not, whoever placed this thing here has a dark sense of humor. Remember that guy who was caught on a Ring doorbell video licking someone's doorbell? Well, we've just found his soulmate. Posted in December of 2017, the footage shows a young blonde woman approach the doorbell. At first, it appears as if it was provoked by a dare. The woman walks up to the doorbell, holds up her hands strangely, as though she knows she's on candid camera, and then looks over to her right, as if looking at someone out of frame. But then she walks back, just standing awkwardly, looking around at random, before approaching the door again. Is she waiting for someone to answer? Maybe, but what she does while waiting is not normal. The woman opens her mouth wide, moving closer to the camera, and you can actually hear her bite. She then backs away again, as though nothing happened, appears to be waiting for a moment, then starts to do this. Well, it's all well and good to get your daily exercise in. Doing that on someone's doorstep late at night after biting their security camera seems a little out of it, don't you agree? Some friends practice soccer and talk about life when they cross paths with something that will change all of theirs forever. Caught on camera is what they claim to be a strange goblin creature clambering across the kitchen floor. Only one of them looks directly at it and he drops to the ground and covers his eyes like they burn. The creature, which barely comes up to waist level, runs out from behind this area behind the refrigerator. They lose sight of the goblin in a dark room, and the encounter is over, at least for now. This video requires a bit of backstory. In 1961, Massachusetts housewife Stella Lansing started to experience things of an extraterrestrial nature, including men in black, humanoids, UFOs, and otherworldly visions. She captured much of her experiences on various types of film. It wasn't until 1967 that Stella bought a silent 8mm film camera. Although she'd taken photographs of the odd sightings, The film camera captured more strange images and structures that Stella never saw in person, but that turned up on film. And yet again, Stella came across the strange lights while driving on Route 32. She exited her car to see them better, as did another driver. The lights were yellowish and, as Stella described, silently walking from east to west to the old cemetery. The other driver had also seen the lights. This was Stella's chance to catch the orbs on her 8mm camera, so she headed back home to retrieve it and then returned to the intersection. More lights appeared, with one of the red ones bouncing like a rubber ball, as she described. A friend showed up and the pair watched the lights together until they burst into a white light. As she continued her recording of these strange events into the 70s, she discovered an odd clock-like pattern on her photos and films, as well as geometric pattern overlapping the frames on the film itself. The mystery only grew in 1991 when a TV show called Sightings did a segment on Stella's video logs. When they exported her silent 8mm film to VHS, unknown voices were heard. Stella has since passed away in 2012, and no one can explain the mystery of her sightings. This surveillance footage looks like it was taken on an academic campus of some sort. The security camera is glitching out and skipping frames, which is supposed to be a clear indication that Slenderman is near. Look closely here, and you can see a transparent figure in the upper left. Then, without warning, a tall figure is suddenly looming over a young boy. Slenderman yanks the boy high into the air by both arms, and then the video quickly cuts off. I noticed in the bottom right corner that this camera was marked Camera 01, but I wasn't able to find footage from any of the other cameras. If somebody recognizes this location, then maybe we can do some more precise investigating and get to the bottom of this mysterious sighting. A ghost hunting group called No Fear Paranormal lives up to their name while exploring a haunted cemetery with a K2 meter, a spirit box, and some recording equipment. The name of the haunted place they're exploring is the Tonopah Cemetery in Nevada. They ask it a question, but apparently whatever is nearby has only one topic on its mind.
Can you tell us how many of us are out here? How many people are in the cemetery?
A scary voice of a man comes through their paranormal equipment and calmly responds with 2 words, a demon. I'm not sure if this is a real ghost EVP or not, but the way it immediately tells them that a demon is nearby is frightening to say the least, and possibly more than a creepy coincidence. Don't invite a witch to your birthday party. They aren't the best gift givers. Published by Scary Girl in June of 2020. This CCTV footage is about to give you chills. The residents of this home had been finding strange things outside on their front steps, delivered to them in the middle of the night, including lifeless animals. Could it be a cat leaving presents? The residents installed security cameras, and in March of 2015 at around 3 in the morning, these cameras captured a figure hobbling toward their front steps from a distance. The figure looked like an old woman in a dress. The woman bends down and places the object on the front steps and then hurries away. Another camera captures her walking off. In the morning, the family found a crow missing its head on their doorstep. So the question is, why did this witch leave a headless crow for the family? Is it part of a curse? I can't imagine the answer is anything good. A YouTuber named JawGuy7 is hanging out at a creek when a mangy lone deer comes wandering up to them. I can't tell for sure, but I think it makes 2 strange noises that I have never heard come from a deer before. The deer calmly walks past them without any fear and goes to the river but does not drink. Eventually it turns towards them and gives him a cold blank stare. There seems to be no life or thought behind its eyes as it holds him in its gaze. Long strands of drool hang from its lips, indicating possible CWD. Obviously this creature is thirsty, but at the same time it lacks. The cognitive facilities needed to take a drink. CWD has left it just smart enough to find a water source, yet far too gone to quench its thirst. Hopefully this was reported to Animal Wildlife Control so they could help the deer. A Redditor named Danny3LG are making a funny video when they accidentally capture a morose visitor in the process. Something taller than the entertainment center looks out and ducks from view. In the split second, I see the top of its head, along with a pale brow and 2 solid black eyes. If not a ghost, what else could this be? Klaus finds something in his basement that's so scary. He has set up multiple cameras in his basement to try and capture it on camera. All he finds is this extra creepy layer of skin dried up against the wall. Listening to the sound the skin makes when touched is enough to make me want to peel out of my own.
What in the world?
He says it's juvenile, and I'd say that's a safe bet since it can't be finished growing if it is still shedding its skin from time to time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is a big snake. And it's somewhere in my basement.
You can see where the snake used the grooves between 2 stones to rub off its old skin and emerge even bigger than before. A Google search reveals snakes will come into the basement through basement cracks and even through drains if you have any plumbing hooked up down there. Once they're in, the only way to get them to leave is to remove them by hand or call for help. The description says it's over 3 feet long. Assuming he measured accurately, I'd say it's time to leave this one up to the pros. Anthony lives around a bunch of abandoned farmland that he has always wanted to explore. So he takes his camera and spends the whole day poking around. He doesn't know anything about the history of this land or why it was abandoned, but the more he discovers, the less alone he feels.
There's a bed in here. Hello?
The buildings are all single-story structures in various states of decay, and each one is somehow distinctly lonesome in its own way. By the time he comes across the main house, he is very jumpy and senses eyes on him from afar. Tell me if you hear whispering during this part when he opens the door.
Makes me weary.
I guess it could just be the creaky springs of an old screen door or something, but it really does sound like it could be voices. Anyway, the inside of the house is pretty well kept, especially compared to the other buildings, yet the unrelenting, unholy aura only grows stronger with each step he takes. At one point, an abandoned nursery room literally makes Anthony nauseous. Surely something bad must have happened here.
This was a kid's room, and I feel so uneasy. I feel dizzy.
Anthony manages to check out the rest of the house, even the basement, without incident. He's ready to leave altogether, but there's just one final surprise left for him on the way out.
What the f was that? Something literally kicked the door.
The door abruptly closes with a short and impolite slam, the exact kind that homeowners use when they are upset with someone for being at their door. I don't think Anthony shut the door by himself because he was out of arm's reach when it happened, and maybe it's just me, but I think I can see some kind of shadowy mist in the window on the right. Coincidentally, in the same room he was just in. Here's a video that shows how Randonautica can be scary without even trying. A YouTuber named Nolan goes randonauting with his friends in search of the color orange. The app takes them to 2 orange cones, no problem.
You see that?
Cones. Orange cones. No way.
They are weirded out but not entirely convinced, so they decide to go randonauting for something more obscure that would be creepier to find, like the number 4.
So we're doing a number?
Yeah, okay. So
4?
Not only do they find the number 4 prominently etched into a concrete handrail, but get this. The location that's given to them to find the number 4
It's 4 minutes away.
is exactly 4 minutes away. Now they are getting creeped out and concentrate on a color that's hard to find in the countryside at night. The color blue. Not only does Randonautica take them to a pack of blue gum, when they go back to their car, they find out they were parked by an empty energy drink with blue lettering this whole time. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.